Chapter 5. Culture and Civilization. Culture is the quality in a person that arises from a concern for what is regarded as excellent in arts, letters, manners, scholarly pursuits, etc. A culture has sets of rules, symbols, and traditions that are enacted and shaped as behaviors, feelings, and thoughts of groups of people. Referring primarily to learned behavior as distinct from that which is given by culture, biology, or nature that has been used to designate everything that is humanly produced, arts, artifacts, beliefs, habits, and passed from one generation to another. In this formulation, culture is distinguished from nature and one society from another. Civilization consists of an advanced state of human society, in which a high level of culture, government, industry, and science has been reached. Nations or people that have reached such a state. Human society. A society is an organized group of people associated together for benevolent, cultural, patriotic, political, scientific, or other purposes. In broader terms, it is a highly structured system of human organization for large-scale community living that normally furnishes continuity, protection, security, and a national identity for its members. A large population enables more ideas and social change, increasing the need for more laws, norms, and sanctions. A society's beliefs and values are essential to development and growth, but when a group's beliefs and values are tied to religion, the ideas and social changes can be detoured. They wouldn't want change and would rather things remain the same. But having moral beliefs and values promotes effective, significant, and useful change. Therefore, it depends on society and if society can gain more knowledge of discoveries and information. This would enable innovation and inventions for society to function at local, national, and regional levels more efficiently. Components of a society. There are 5 basic components of human society: culture, material products, population, social institutions, and social organization. Culture includes values, beliefs, norms, knowledge, language, and symbols. Culture can both deter and promote social changes. The material product consists of the goods or substance by labor, that is a limited amount. A material product can promote change because people will find other alternatives for existing products. A population consists of the total number of people inhabiting any area, city, county, or district. Social institutions consist of the education system, economy, family, government, and religion. The social organization consists of the structure of social relations within a group, usually the relations between its institutions and subgroups. A social organization is a network of relationships between its members. Some people hold political roles and social positions that may deter or promote change. Social structure is the relationship patterns of friendships or status that exist among members of a group or society. Structure refers to patterns within the culture and organization through which social action takes place. The structure both constrains and enables what is possible in social life. Social stratification is the hierarchical or vertical division of society according to caste, class, or rank. A division of people socioeconomically into layers or strata. Social stratification draws attention to society and the positions occupied unequally. In industrialized countries and larger traditional societies today, there is stratification in terms of property, wealth, and access to cultural products and material goods. Related terms. Agency, a bureau, company, or organization that provides some service for another. A means of exerting influence or power in an operational instrumentality. A group is several people or things placed together, an association with others. Equality, the quality or state of being equal in ability, degree, quantity, rank, or value. Ethnicity, an ethnic group or social group that shares a common and distinctive culture, language, or religion. Inequality, the condition of being unequal, lacking disparity or equality. Injustice, partiality. Institution, an establishment, foundation, organization, or society that is devoted to promoting a particular cause or program, especially one of a charitable, educational, or public character. Language, a body of words and the systems for their use that are common to people of the same community, culture, tradition, group, geographical area, or nation. Norms, the average, general level, model, pattern, or standard that constitutes the normal. Race, a group of people related by common descent or heredity. A group of people or tribes forms an ethnic lineage. A people united by common cultural history, language, traits, etc. Role, a part played by someone with the behavior patterns, obligations, and rights expected to be associated with this status. Status, the position of an individual concerning another or others, especially regarding a profession or social standing. The condition or situation. Values, considered for effectiveness, excellence, importance, significance, usefulness, and worth. Earlier civilization. Religion is the stepping stone to civilization. At heart, any religion is the certainty of direction, meaning, and purpose to form order. To better explain why things are the way they are, and generally, religion is the glue that binds people together. The longest-lasting civilization in the world began in ancient Egypt. For 3,000 years, the pharaohs ruled, and their people believed. The pharaohs used their authority and power to oppress the people. Egypt is where civilization and religion emerged as one, and every civilization since has adopted the same formula. The people of Egypt would follow any water sources, but Western hunters built a Stonehenge lake for rain that was believed to be sacred. People would congregate around the lake for water just for the summer season and worship together. The site is now known to be over 7,000 years old, and about 10 square miles of stones, arranged into circles and mounds. The first monuments were all inspired by religion and aligned in a specific direction, basically towards the north. Even though the term religion didn't exist during the pharaoh's rule, these early stages of civilization helped form religion. The North Star helped to align the stones. There was even a Stonehenge built representing a calendar. The calendar would tell them when summer rains were about to start, and it too was considered sacred. The gods, seasons, stars, and sun were all linked together to help Egyptians learn how their world worked. Cows were eaten, and often, young cows were sacrificed and buried beneath the ground. It is believed that this sacrifice was to the gods to control nature, bring rain, and ensure their livelihood continued. Generally, the people had to appeal to the gods to make sure nature did what they wanted it to do, to survive. This is how religion operates nowadays. Our brains are built in such a way that they facilitate religious and spiritual ideas, enabling us to experience them easily and make them a part of the human belief system, at least for many people. In evolutionary terms, people seem to need religion for behavior patterns, beliefs, moral systems, and a sense of values. Ever since early civilization until the present time, some type of religious and spiritual elements have existed that were a part of how to view ideas and the world of humanity. All those elements came together to create a cohesive society that allowed a civilization to form. For religion to spread, it needs to be communicated and shared with others. The most powerful forms of communication are imagery and symbols. Egyptians etched their art onto the canyon walls. There are hundreds of images carved onto the walls that represent an insight into the world of the people who gathered there. Mostly hunters domesticating the animals in the images, imposing their order on the natural world. In all emerging civilizations, religion was called upon to bring good fortune and impose control over the environment. Religion also brought the hope of eternal life. The early Egyptians had the power to unite the faithful, and this is what preachers and priests are now doing. All these elements exist in local communities today. Religion can help argumentative and combative people meet on common grounds to form a reconciliation. With team bonding, those individuals can focus less on their emotions and volitional processes and more on their perceptions of reason. Culture of the Western Continent. In broader terms, the Western Continent refers to the cultures of the United States and Europe. The United States is home to the Midwest, Northeast, South, Southeast, and Western regions. It is the third largest country in the world. Although the customs and traditions of the first Americans helped form its culture, the English colonized this country during the early 1600s. The United States population is about 325 million, and all regions have their distinctive customs and traditions. Every region from around the world has contributed, influenced, and shaped American culture. The Census Bureau shows that a child is born every 8 seconds, a person dies every 12 seconds, and a new immigrant moves to the United States every 33 seconds. According to the U.S. government, there is no official language of the United States. Frequently spoken languages are Chinese, English, French, German, and Spanish, even though there are an estimated 300 languages spoken in the United States. With the United States being a melting pot, immigrants integrate by blending. You see this immensely in the food cuisines, in carpooling to church or work, and even in shopping at the local mall. The United States materialistic culture brand labels consist of Abercrombie & Fitch, Adidas, American Eagle Outfitters, Converse, Gucci, Forever 21, H&M, Hollister, Louis Vuitton, Ralph Lauren, Nike, Vans, Victoria's Secret, Urban Outfitters, etc. American business, electronics, and fashion are influenced by celebrities and media trends. Retail e-commerce sales were an estimated $98.1 billion around the first quarter of 2017. In early history, American food was influenced by Europeans and Native Americans. Now, common food dishes consist of Chinese, Greek, German, Indian, Italian, Korean, Mexican, and Spanish. The television broadcasting industry started in the early 1950s, and the United States is known around the world as a leader in mass media production, which includes movies and television. Its movie industry is centered in California, known as Hollywood, and theatrical shows are the home to Broadway in New York. American music style consists of blues, bluegrass, country, gospel, jazz, hip-hop, rap, rock, and roll, etc. America is well known for its business entrepreneurship and stock market. The United States is also well known for its athletes, beauty queens, charity organizations, veterans, and volunteers. Holidays are distinctive features of the United States culture, and some holidays are only celebrated in America. Such as Martin Luther King Jr. Remembrance is on the third Monday in January, Abraham Lincoln and George Washington birthdays are on President's Day the third Monday in February. Memorial Day honors all who have died in the military service and it is celebrated on the last Monday in May. Independence from Great Britain is celebrated on July 4th. Labor Day observance is on the first Monday in September celebrating the country's workforce, and Thanksgiving is celebrated the fourth Thursday in November. The theme is a harvest, and Veterans Day is observed on November 11th. Western culture influences the world, just as it is being influenced by immigrants who travel from foreign countries to embrace the American way of life. The United States is a diverse culture, just like other regions around the world. The way people blend in the United States is unique. Some may decide to keep their close family traditions as far as language, marriage, music, or relations. Others blend with the single urban community and the social life that it has to offer. Since the United States was founded based on religious freedom, nearly every religion is practiced. However, the Christian population is decreasing. According to the Pew Research Center, 71% of Americans identify as Christian, and 23% have no religious affiliation, and this category is expected to drop 13% by 2060. Citizens' rights and responsibilities. The government under the Constitution is designed to promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty. Citizenship offers benefits and equality. It is of great importance. The American nation is bound by shared values of equality, freedom, and liberty. It connects citizens on common grounds. When immigrants become citizens, they too can play a role in democracy in America. The United States has several rights and responsibilities that come with citizenship and should be exercised with respect. To ensure every American citizen's freedom, some of these rights and responsibilities are legally required. These are the laws of the land. You can become a citizen by going to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration website. Rights, responsibilities. Freedom to express yourself. Freedom to pursue liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness. Freedom to worship as you wish. Right to apply for federal employment requiring U.S. citizenship. Right to a prompt, fair trial by jury. Right to vote in elections for public officials. Right to run for elected office. Defend the country if the need should arise. Defend and support the Constitution. Obey and respect federal, local, and state laws. Participate in the democratic process. Participate in your local community. Pay taxes on time for income and other taxes honestly, to federal, local, and state authorities. Serve on a jury when called upon. Stay informed of the issues affecting your community. Respect the beliefs, opinions, and rights of others. Society's social class and expectations. Generally, social class is considered to have a great influence on culture in America. All aspects of American culture are governed by the social structure of consumer behavior, interaction, and residential location. Most of these are based upon education, income, and occupation. Also, political behavior is affected by class status. These are essential values for all Americans, but most upper classes dedicate their entire lives to achieving financial freedom, a healthy lifestyle, leisure vacations, prestige, and prominent status. The middle class dedicates their entire lives to family, religion, traditions, and work. So, whatever you value most is where your overall class identity will manifest. The greatest aspect of the class is living a healthier lifestyle, which will enable self-consciousness to avoid power struggles and own your actions. Having said that, it doesn't take much wealth to achieve those qualities. If you want to believe in the powers of the resurrection, read my book, The Unlimited Resurrection, on Amazon. Family roles. A family is a group of people that consists of a man, woman, and biological or adopted children. In a traditional family, the man and woman are married, raising their biological or adopted children and or taking care of extended family such as parents. A traditional family fulfills the generational, legal, and religious traditions of a family foundation for the structure. Essentially, tradition is a long-established or inherited way of acting and thinking, formally. In a non-traditional family, the man and woman are a same-sex, unwed couple or single parent that is raising their biological, adopted children and or taking care of extended family such as parents. A non-traditional family isn't obligated to fulfill the traditions of a family foundation. Non-tradition is a short-established or inherited way of acting and thinking, informally. Even though a non-traditional family probably would need it the most, any family can improve to strengthen the foundation. Strengthening family members' traditional roles. The basic head of household male and female roles consist of a caregiver, guide with attention and concern, nurture and support them, cleaning house, discipline, providing financial support, protection, resolving problems, teaching a respectable vocabulary and willingness to achieve, washing clothes, etc. But first and foremost, all children are to be taught to obey and respect adults and, most importantly, people of authority. Unless they are dealing with a child molester, then it is obeying and respecting while in the way with them, but eventually reporting them. Generally, children are expected to cooperate with and respect their parents. Older youth can help supervise younger siblings while learning at home and school. It isn't favorable to have only discipline or only teaching. You need a true balance between the two. Because if older youth aren't comprehending at home, it will show up in church and school, and they probably won't lead the younger siblings down a responsible path. If you discipline and teach equally, other areas of your children's lives won't fall apart. If your parents weren't concerned about the importance of strengthening family members' traditional roles, you still can fulfill them with your children. To break the cycle of death, incarceration, or mental illness for family members. Family roles can help form happiness with harmony. They help shape our interaction in a group setting. These roles function to create deep, meaningful, and safe relationships and to maintain a balance in the family structure. Healthy families function this way so that the family can develop maturely with leadership qualities. Gender roles. 1. Role of a father: provide financial support as head of household, make responsible decisions with the spouse. Manage the household by paying bills on time, taking the children to church and school, attending school meetings, taking them to the local library, helping with shopping, and preparing meals. Help with other things such as extracurricular activities for children, gardening, home repairs, help with childcare, homework, and spouse with marketing. 2. Role of a mother: provide financial support as head of household, make responsible decisions with the spouse. Manage and be the treasurer, budget and plan, coordinate and supervise household tasks, nurture and take care of the children, help with childcare, homework, and extracurricular activities for children. Help with other things such as taking the children to church and school, attending school meetings, take them to the local library. 3. Role of a boy: help with outside household chores, and older youth shopping and supervise siblings. 4. Role of a girl: help with inside household chores, and older youth shopping and supervise siblings. The gender roles may vary according to traditional marital status and whether the children model their parents' roles. Naturally, family roles may change over time due to the ability to adapt and adjust to a task or when there are crises. Parents can strengthen the family by helping one another with chores as equal partners and avoiding harsh or severe disciplining. Be clear about their day-to-day responsibilities in and to the family, and also be fair and flexible by seeking input from the children. Children can participate in a variety of decisions, and making real decisions can help them grow up to be responsible adults. They just need to see how those tasks help the family. Allow them to express their opinions without fear of criticism, and do not allow interruptions. Parents can end on a cheerful note with a joke or refreshments. Raise your children in joy, love, and kindness with righteousness. Show them that they are important and that their decisions count, and celebrate their success. Have discussions, talk about fun things, and plan family activities. Raising them to show respect for all adults will help them see why the parents are in charge and why children need to honor that. Studies have shown that authoritative parenting has the most positive benefits for children because they dominate with complete control, favoring subordinates. Studies, too, have proven that authoritative parents are more than likely to help cause mental illness in their children through traumatic experiences. Even though these mishaps and mayhem occur in non-traditional just as traditional family households, the best parenting approach is not to try and improve dictatorship areas. It is about strengthening the family's foundation for achievements and long-term success. Taking parenting classes at a church, school, university, etc., can help to improve many areas of parenting. Beliefs and values. Belief is something believed, a conviction or opinion. The state of mind in which a person thinks something to be true with or without empirical evidence to prove the truth with factual certainty. It is a mental representation of a positive attitude towards something that is supposed to be true. Something you can accept, be confident about, have faith in, and put trust in. Value is the worth of something in terms of the amount for which it can be exchanged or in terms of some medium of exchange. The equivalent worth or return in material, money, service, etc. In ethics, value is the degree of importance of an action or something, or to describe the significance of different actions. Normative ethics aims to determine what action has an advantage or what path is suitable to live, treating action as an abstract object and then putting a value on it. It refers to having the right conduct for living a good life, in the sense that a high or highly valuable action could be regarded as ethically good. Or to have the wrong conduct for living a bad life, in the sense that a low or lower valuable action could be regarded as ethically wrong. Ethical values make an action valuable depending on the object it alters, decreases, or increases. The ethical value of an object may be in terms of ethical or philosophical. Concerning appropriate courses of action or outcomes, the value can be defined as broad preferences. Values reflect a person's sense of right and wrong or what ought to be. Representatives of values such as excellence deserve admiration, equal rights, dignity, and respect. These types of values, such as aesthetic, doctrinal/ideological, political, religious, ethical/moral, and social, tend to influence people's attitudes and behavior. Some values are debatable, such as acquisitiveness, altruism, and intrinsic values, and whether they should be classified as vices or virtues due to unclear physiological determinations. Understanding beliefs and values. A lot of evidence suggests that human motivation influences what is believed to be true. Sure, controversy does surround beliefs and values, but they are central to human functioning. There are two types of beliefs and values, perceptual types as well as language-based, and both play out in the social arena. For instance, an experience is a perception of an action or event, and it can never be shared directly. Language-based beliefs can be shared directly if the person is inclined. Beliefs and values are equitable, rational, and sustainable, but unconsciously, they can become self-serving subjects that can form power struggles. We are taught in church, home, and school that our beliefs and values justify active and passive states. Understanding your beliefs and values in an approachable and significant way can lessen the need for power struggles. Explicit language-based beliefs and values are a justification system because it is functionally organized into a system of justification that determines what is and what isn't justifiable. When activating justification with legit meaning, belief value allows you to emphasize how they are functionally beneficial and organized. Justification has two fundamental issues. The first comes from the word is. It refers to the issue of what is justifiably factual, and whether the claim under consideration qualifies to be accurate, valid, or not. The second comes from the word ought. Ought refers to what course of action one should be guided by given a set of circumstances and then valued. In terms of logic, issues with is and ought are conceptually separable, but they are deeply connected in human thought. These two elements are often used to get clarity, to separate what is actual from what ought or wishes to be true. Justification systems exist both at individual and group levels, such as views about men and women, husbands and wives. Gender roles are the scripts that frame and legitimize actions and ways of being for males and females in a culture. Justification systems arise out of different domains of justification within dialogical processes such as an argument, debate, rhetoric, social exchange, and reason-giving between individuals. Therefore, the content and strength of justifications will vary as a function of audience and dynamic social influence, as to who has interest aligned or power. Ethical values. Ethical culture is a movement that was founded in 1876 by Flex Adler. Flex was an educator, reformer, and writer who lived in the U.S. Ethical culture stresses the importance of ethical behavior independent of religious beliefs. In this generation, many people have deviated from awareness of the importance of ethical behavior. Sure, I get it, people are tired of the stereotypical behavior that comes with ethical norm judging. However, this generation engages in undermining the theories of the Founding Fathers on various levels, resulting in mass incarceration rates. It appears that senseless individuals would rather commit crimes than have values to live by. Senselessness is the result of unacknowledged or unrecognized information. It is things that parents aren't sharing with their youth. If you don't know about the importance of values, it is impossible to feel valued. Generally, if you have deviated from ethical values, you need to start fixing things with an open heart to change your perceptions of living the good life. Ethical values enable you to live a rewarding and useful life, and sure there will be challenges to face. Ethical pertains to morals, basically the principles of morality. Value is relative to importance, merit, and worth. It is the worth of something in terms of the number of other things for which it can be exchanged. You can't believe going out and committing crimes helps to build self-worth because it doesn't. This makes a person senseless, illiterate, insane, and unprofitable. Manifested ethical characteristics and values help one to become a profitable person. This is not a political issue, it is a human race issue. Below are 12 ethical principles that cannot be ignored. These principles everyone ought to know. 12 ethical principle values. 1. Accountability. Accept personal accountability for the ethical quality of your decisions and omissions to the communities, family, friends, and yourself. 2. Commitment to excellence. Pursue excellence in performing your duties, be well informed and prepared, and constantly endeavor to increase proficiency in all areas of responsibility. 3. Concern for others. Be caring, compassionate, benevolent, and kind, honor the golden rule, and help those in need. Seek to accomplish business objectives in a manner that causes the greatest positive good and least harm. 4. Fairness. Be fair and just in all dealings. Do not exercise power arbitrarily. Do not use overreaching, indecent means to gain or maintain an advantage. Do not take undue advantage of another person's difficulties or mistakes. Fair persons manifest a commitment to justice, the equal treatment of individuals, tolerance for and acceptance of diversity, so be open-minded. Be willing to admit you're wrong and appropriately change your beliefs and positions in life. 5. Honesty. Be honest and truthful in all your dealings and do not deliberately deceive or mislead others by misrepresentation, overstatement, partial truth, selective omission, or any other means. 6. Integrity. Demonstrate personal integrity and the courage of your convictions by doing what you think is right even when there is pressure to do otherwise. Be honorable, principled, and upright, and willing to fight for your beliefs. Do not sacrifice principle for expediency. Be hypocritical and unscrupulous. 7. Law-abiding. Abide by laws, rules, and regulations relating to citizens' activities and rights. 8. Leadership. Be conscious of the opportunities and responsibilities of your position of leadership. Seek to be a positive ethical role model by your conduct and help to create an environment in which ethical decision-making and principled reasoning are highly prized. 9. Loyalty. Be worthy of trust. Demonstrate fidelity and loyalty to persons and institutions by friendship, in which diversity and devotion to duty are supported. Do not use or disclose information learned in confidence for personal advantage. Safeguard the ability to make independent professional judgments by scrupulously avoiding undue conflicts of interest and influences. Be loyal to your community, country, family, and friends. If you decide to accept other positions in life, provide reasonable notice and respect the proprietary information of your former positions. Refuse to engage in any activities that take undue advantage of others' previous positions. 10. Promise-keeping and trustworthiness. Be worthy of trust. Be candid and forthcoming in supplying and correcting misapprehensions and relevant information of fact. Make every reasonable effort to fulfill the letter and spirit of your commitments and promises. Do not interpret agreements in an unreasonably legalistic or technical manner. Do not rationalize to create justifications or noncompliance for escaping your commitments. 11. Reputation and morale. Seek to build and protect the family's reputation and the morale of its friends by engaging in no conduct that might undermine respect. Take whatever actions are necessary to correct or prevent the inappropriate conduct of others. 12. Respect for others. Demonstrate respect for the autonomy, human dignity, interests, privacy, and rights of all those who have a stake in their own decisions. Be courteous and treat all people with equal dignity and respect regardless of national origin, subrace, or sex. Family and religious values. Religious values are derived from the scripture of the Bible, ethical principles found in historical beliefs, and texts. These terms help form an identity in politics, schools, and throughout many denominations of the world. Otherwise, humanity resorts to form communist lifestyle. Family values are taught by our ancestors and refer to cultural values that continually help build a firm foundation for a family structure. Other normative ethical values pertain to attitudes, beliefs, functions, ideas, personal roles, and roles of the family. These are often used as a euphemism for our familiar rights. Personal values are also derived from religious values, which are well-established norms of humanity and society. According to social sciences and U.S. politics, a traditional family refers to a nuclear family. This is a child-rearing environment composed of a breadwinning father, a homemaking mother, and their biological children. The nuclear family was common before the 1970s, and this type was referred to as a model of the norm by sociologists. A family that deviates from the norm model is considered a non-traditional family. Nowadays, the nuclear family has evolved into the extended family model and is still considered a non-traditional family. Personal growth with ethical values. Ethical values form your foundation for life and help form dignity and respect for others and yourself. They help determine the choices made and directions taken, and help influence the decisions related to activities, career, and relationships that you engage in. The values that you have internalized as a child generally remain with you throughout adulthood. Yet, many people still reject the values of their upbringings to adopt values of the dominant society, instead of choosing ethical values. Some people may have already compromised their dignity by deviating from the norm model to form a non-traditional family. But unfortunately, these values may have also carried you down a path in the direction you didn't want to go, all while ruling out dignity for the pride of dirty deeds. Everyone shields pride with temporary euphoria when things aren't going in the right direction that was intended. But it takes someone unwilling to compromise the foundation that they are building to overcome the tendencies of pride with euphoria. Keep in mind that euphoria in psychological terms is a temporary feeling of confidence, happiness, or well-being that often gets exaggerated in pathological states as mania. People rely on temporary euphoria to pretend things are okay, but this, too, is a form of compromise. Building a foundation with a lifetime partner has huge benefits over performing dirty deeds as a single person eternally. Because there is someone to help you work things out, you don't have to build the foundation of life alone. However, you must keep in mind this norm model can still bring about certainty after deviating, as long as you stay true to ethical values. Don't get lost in illusions of what life's expectations are supposed to be. If you are a single person, a strong foundation can still be planned. Personal growth is about you and what you desire out of life with the need for dignity. You can repair careers and relationships with personal growth because personal growth is formed through the progress made. Are you living life in abundance with ethical values or an abundance of pride without dignity? Deconstructing your core values. Fulfilled people tend to have life-affirming values, or in early adulthood, they may have modified and re-evaluated their values due to a crisis of conscience. But most people never question their values and buy into them early in life, to create a life around those values. Worst case scenario, the values that you grew up with weren't all unhealthy, and some of your present values haven't changed since childhood. Look deeply, honestly, and openly at the way you were raised because one of the first steps is identifying your values. To understand what values you possess and live by, deconstruct them until you are clear about the exact values you hold and why you hold those values. The next step is deconstructing your present life and the values that your life reflects. After deconstructing your life to get an idea of what your core values are, you can see the values that you have created in your present life. You can now see whether those values contribute to bringing you dissatisfaction or happiness. Determine which elements contribute to your unhappiness in your career, lifestyle, marriage, etc., and then ask yourself what values reflect those parts the most. Rule out what to keep and what must go, and then better prepare yourself according to the prominent qualities. Livelihood. Livelihood refers to a means of supporting one's existence, especially financially or vocationally. Having a livelihood is the greatest fundamental aspect of living, and every household has different accessible livelihood assets. Sure, there are right and wrong types of livelihood, such as trading human beings into slavery, trading narcotics, poisons, or weapons, etc., and all are punishable. The gap between the world's poor and rich individuals is widening. A small fraction of the richest individuals has a combined income greater than the large fraction of the poorest individuals. Usually, the poor and vulnerable appreciate the assistance they receive. But what tends to happen is that the poor are forced to choose compromises or trade-offs that lead to abuse of government assistance or committing crimes. As a result, they are forced to be separated from their biological fathers or mothers through incarceration, and this is a huge problem. Often, their kids end up in foster homes, away from family and friends. In these cases, the restrictions generally end up affecting the ones who need it the most. In the past, the government has adopted weak strategies for enhancing the livelihoods of the poor and vulnerable. Since legislators have a strong influence on interpersonal relations, they too have underplayed enhancing the livelihood of one group because enhancing that group can undermine those of another. Psychologists of livelihood development for the poor and vulnerable argue that even though a good theory is necessary to achieve success, an essential factor is a secure state that can support development activities. But with the U.S. being in debt, funding to enhance their livelihood qualities seems virtually impossible to obtain. Therefore, the main problem continues to arise: the processes that frame the livelihoods of poor and vulnerable individuals systematically restrict them when linked to government assistance such as food, health aids, housing, shelter, etc. Moving forward, it is time for the poor and vulnerable to develop significant and tighter strategies to ensure long-term stability for family, friends, and marriages. This will encourage the country to work together to get out of debt. Below are opportunities for certain types of liveliness. Fundamental assets of a citizen. Financial liveliness, debt and savings, formal and informal, from business capital, pension, tax, and wages. Human liveliness, education, more education, balanced dietary deficiency with nutrition for better health, knowledgeable and skilled for work adaptation. Natural liveliness, environmental cleanup efforts for better resources, including land, forests, produce, wildlife, water sources, etc. Physical liveliness, participation improves the quality of the infrastructure, such as communications, energy, roads, vehicles, transports, water sanitation, supply, secure buildings, shelters, equipment, technology, tools, etc. Decrease the force of police officials by decreasing abandonment, prostitution, pimping, theft, and vandalism. Social liveliness, forms safer traffic throughout networks of communication, support non-traditional families, formally and informally, with beliefs, fair rules, and values. Encourage leaders to make significant and effective decisions. Love and respect thy neighbor and kinship. Support and understand mutual relations with shared beliefs and values. Collectively represent the mechanisms for a better and greater nation for all nations. As we know, not everyone will participate in all elements of these fundamental assets. However, it does give you an idea of what is possible. Compromise versus trade-off. Compromise is a settlement of differences by mutual concessions. It is an agreement reached by adjustment of conflicting or opposing claims, principles, etc., by reciprocal modification of demands. Basically, to bind by agreement or bargaining. In human relationships, compromise is an agreement where no party is ever happy. Both parties involved generally feel they either gave away too much or received too little. In government, indeed, every human benefit and enjoyment, every prudent and virtuous act is founded upon barter and compromise. An abhorrence of compromise and concession is a never-failing characteristic of religious factions. Basely yielded upon compromise, of which some noble ancestors experienced through beatings and slavery. It is also finding a way between extremes. Trade-off refers to the exchange of one thing for another of less or more equal value, especially to effect a compromise. An advantage or improvement that necessitates the corresponding loss or degradation of something else. It is a decision made that involves diminishing or loss of one quality, quantity, or property of a design or set for gain in other aspects. Trade-offs also refer to configurations of a single item that enable different functions while allocating attention and time towards those other tasks. The term is also used in an evolutionary context, about natural and sexual selections, whereas the processes are the ultimate decisive factors. It is when one thing increases while another decreases. Something that comes at the expense of something else, but not necessarily something you are willing to trade. Accountability versus responsibility. Being accountable, answerable, or liable is the state of accountability. Both terms deal with unfulfilled expectations that need to be achieved by an insured party. Accountability is explicitly defined to the point of specific measures but has a narrow focus. A person is accountable to someone, and typically accountability is to reflect upon after an event or obligation. It pinpoints the group or person who makes good on any work that was performed unsuitable. The insurer who is held accountable is usually subject to guidance and limitations defined by someone else. A person is responsible for someone or something, but typically, responsibility is used in advance of an event or obligation, and it has a broader focus between the two terms. It describes the group or person who makes sure the work is done suitably. The insurer assumes responsibility based upon their commitment or ownership. Only a human being can be held accountable and take responsibility for those types of actions. Having said that, a leader delegates responsibility and remains accountable to someone, external or internal, while the work gets done. An individual checks with or obtains the approval of someone else before taking action. External refers to the work being performed, the visible outside, and outside the intended surface. Internal refers to the work being performed, the visible inside, and within the intended scope. And sure, things can go wrong. In a worst-case scenario, the insurer makes excuses as to why the work didn't get done. If this is the case, just agree to fix the problem to avoid legal litigation. Leading versus managing. The act of a person or thing that leads, directs, enables, guides, influences, and motivates others to contribute toward organizational success. Usually, the person is advanced over others that she leads and others follow. The hallmarks of action-based leadership are enabling people and leading by example. Managers dominate or influence a person or group to conduct business, commercial affairs, etc., while being in charge as a boss over employees or subordinates to accomplish a goal. Often, managing includes directing and training, and handling money. Leaders create circles of influence and focus on creating value, while managers create circles of power and focus on counting or reducing value. To tell which of the two you're doing at any given time, count the number of people outside your reporting hierarchy who come to you for advice. If the number is high, you are leading more than managing. Leaders influence to inspire and enable through advice and counsel. Managers influence to command and control, expressing needs over making demands. Does asking for what you want increase your chances of getting it? Yes, but not with a firm demand. The concern is becoming too demanding. Sometimes, it can be the choice of words, and other times, it can be the tone of voice you use to deliver the statement. Often, you may forget to acknowledge whether you have crossed the lines, and things can get blown out of proportion. Sure, the other person will decide to call you out about the demands, but to avoid firm action that follows an answer of no. Be courteous, and don't beg. No one likes a cheerful beggar, because they usually have an agenda that doesn't stop. Providing a reason for the appeal often softens the approach from demand to a reasonable request, also asking using the word need rather than want. You are responsible for your wants, and others can sometimes help you with your needs. Self-help. Providing for oneself without assistance and helping or providing for someone is the act of self-help. In law, it is the action or right of remedying a wrong without resorting to legal proceedings. Self-help involves self-improvements that are guided by oneself, and often it does include psychology. Self-help articles, books, or study courses usually offer counseling or information that is intended to be personally beneficial or profitable to individuals needing those related topics. Self-help groups provide potential benefits such as emotional support, experiential knowledge, friendships, identity, meaningful roles, and a sense of belonging. Many people wish that they could enhance or improve certain things about their bodies, and others just want to improve their overall purpose in life. Lasting change usually comes at a cost, but the possibilities are endless with determination and willpower. To be clear, this topic supports self-help and not self-aggression. Changing bad habits can be difficult when you aren't willing to adjust and compromise. Certain core personality attributes are deeply ingrained, such as habits, and may be immutable. However, old characters and habits can be altered to various degrees, but with effort, it is possible to transform into the kind of person you intended to be. Aspects of human traditional existence, such as sowing a garden and then reaping the harvest, in the beginning, were naturally established. This gave people their identity, personality, and popularity, even though there was no individuality. As a result, human corruption increased, both popularity through living a healthy lifestyle and self-help through natural resources decreased. From research, if more people were able to utilize the great outdoors for entertainment and exercise, more people would value cleaning the environment. The reverse side of that is if more people value cleaning the environment, more people would be able to utilize the great outdoors for entertainment and exercise. Essentially, transforming anger and hostility can also be done with self-help through natural resources. If more individuals were capable of self-help, it would make the US a stronger country once again. In turn, all this would prevent irregular patterns in the climate, and then climate change would change the way people think about acting upon irrational impulses. Finding a purpose. While purpose is the reason for which something is done, exists, is made, used, etc., it shows that the person has ambitions and is determined not to let the chips just fall. The person has a strategic plan that is well thought out, and adversity won't hinder their intended goal. They are willing to adjust when needed and prepare themselves for the worst. Some people are good at finding a purpose, and so their purpose keeps shifting. They rhythmically adjust to new goals that give them vitality according to their choices. However, if you have problems finding your purpose, try logotherapy, which is a traditional psychotherapeutic practice. This type of psychotherapy focuses on helping people become aware of the meaning of life, so they can overcome a crisis that affects them more easily. Scientific research has shown that a life purpose does affect human mental and physical health, essentially in substantial ways. Studies have shown that, intuitively, individuals who believe they have found their purpose in life often enjoy a better quality of sleep, which decreases the aging process. In general, there is a direct correlation between enjoying longevity and having a purpose. Discovering the blueprint of your purpose. We tend to choose things that provide a sense of achievement, pleasure, and satisfaction, such as planning a career, education, family, financial gains, parties, or travel. While these appear to be routine endeavors that satisfy fleeting and superficial yearnings, they don't sustain. Essentially, they don't leave you with a sense of fulfillment that reflects a purposeful and true destiny. Even though you will need to acquire further education to help the purpose manifest, it isn't the overall goal. However, this fact is only made clear at the point of a crisis. Sure, crises can be overwhelming, feeling out of control when confronted with demanding or harsh truths. It's moments like these when you tend to feel the most vulnerable. Our basic instinct is to search for answers to cope with uncertainty. With an unclaimed or unestablished purpose, there are sudden changes that bring about difficult questions, such as, what went wrong? Am I the only one experiencing this crisis? Will I ever overcome the crisis? When will I find my unique purpose? Why haven't I acknowledged the purpose before now? All those questions arise after the crisis, and then you realize that you need to grasp the significance of your purposeful destiny now more than ever before. Provoking authentic moments such as these can be challenging, but they can reveal deeper dimensions of our true nature. Fulfilling answers come when we are open to discovering our authentic, true, and unique purpose. The purpose is something that cannot be duplicated according to your birthright and genuine thoughts of others and self. However, asking about others' experiences and then finding solutions through their experiences to cope with pain can make you miss opportunities to fulfill a quest for advancement. Looking deep within the self to shape your connections and gifts will help you withstand crises to use them as opportunities for growth. Finding a purpose requires long-term relationships that are both affirming and strengthening. Attention to the needs of crucial relationships is the genuine contentment and peace that doesn't come with everyday interaction. Initially, a purpose is something that you make happen. It doesn't just happen. Everyone has intrinsic qualities to manifest according to their birthright and defined thoughts. These are your unique gifts. These gifts enable you to be truly engaged and fulfilled. Fear, unawareness, and the unknown occasionally keep us from looking within. Sure, the process of manifestation is internal. Succeeding by external motivation will make the purposeless likely to manifest. You ought to be driven by your passion and talents and do it. You can strengthen your voice through the environment and approach your path with integrity. Genuine purpose comes from what is of true value in life. By looking inside, you can assess your innate qualities, the blueprint of the road to fulfillment. Listen to hear the voice of your heart, mind, and soul. Looking within speaks to the human process of awareness and consciousness. Practitioners say that meditation can lead to enlightenment and the true nature of reality. Therefore, silence the mind from the hectic, noisy, and stimulus-filled days. Stop and wonder the events or times that you have evaded or ignored silence throughout the day. Have you ever listened to the voice of logic? It understands your true self. It connects to your core soul. It knows your heart, your dislikes and likes, and it knows what it takes to get you healthy and remain that way. It is the same voice that connects you with others for long-term meaningful relationships. Use all 6 senses: feel, hear, smell, taste, and touch to balance your intuition and discover familiar experiences, get details, and as many as you can. The more experiences you can assess, the more in-depth the purpose could be. Look for your likes and dislikes while looking for things that you yearn for but have evaded or ignored. Usually, the purpose is something that can keep your attention span, whether daily or occasionally, long-term wise. The key variable comes from the past and present, so start looking for meaningful experiences and then check the common attributes that characterize them. Whereas the events and times of past years and recent days and weeks gave you a sense of meaning and motivation, ask yourself, who were you with? Was the task performed? What goals were accomplished? Why were these experiences meaningful? Find out. What drives you and makes you want to show compassion? What energizes you and can increase your integrity? What purpose are you willing to do human sacrifice for? How are you willing to help? Don't avoid questions and diverting away from the path of honest and true assessment. After the discoveries, give yourself a self-assessment to determine whether you are currently capable of sticking with these goals. Plan to start and keep a journal and record your progress. Once you have made progress, share your accomplishments with others. Developing moral character. In social communities, concepts of character include developing virtue in these great attributes: courage, empathy, fortitude, honesty, loyalty, etc. Primarily, moral character distinguishes one person from another, and as we know, moral behavior is what enables social groups to define and unite their cultural distinction from other social groups. Moral character, or character, divulges an evaluation of a person's stable qualities. Generally, moral sense occurs when a person uses the ability to determine the rightness or wrongness of one's actions, and the immoral sense is just the opposite, at which point, the person would be considered a senseless individual. It means the person would rather violate moral principles than conform to patterns of conduct that are usually accepted and established as consistent principles of personal and social ethical values. Using moral character enables a person to naturally want to take responsibility for one's actions, and this way, it doesn't feel forced or rehearsed. Embodying moral character traits isn't a matter of luck, as most people believe. It must be developed through righteous guidance and self-control. Moral character has been defined as a disposition to express behavior in consistent patterns of functions across a range of situations. Moral character has been defined as the sum of one's moral dispositions and habits. Theoretically, leaders should embody and know their moral values. Plato, a Greek philosopher between 347 and 427 BC, believed that the soul is divided into 3 parts of desire: appetitive, rational, and spirited. To have moral character, one must understand what contributes to the overall good and have the appetitive and spirited desires educated properly, to be able to agree with the guidance provided by the rational part of the soul. Moral character is a state concerned with choice. This was believed by Aristotle, a Greek philosopher between 322 and 384 BC. Abraham Lincoln believed that character is a tree and reputation is its shadow. The tree is the real thing, and the shadow is what you think of it. In the beginning, God created man in his image, and man was then considered good. Since the beginning of time, man has fallen short of God's glory, and that means we all have and will, at some point in time or another. No one is perfect, and according to religion, the Messiah was the only person found to be perfect in God's eyes. In Christianity, character is defined as exhibiting fruits of the Holy Spirit: faithfulness, gentleness, goodness, kindness, joy, love, patience, peace, and self-control. And generally, unconsciously using willpower means the person doesn't want to be accountable for actions. They would rather remain in the blame status, the transition of many areas in their life that is held by constant fear and rejection. Sure, there are a lot of concepts, principles, and standards that define and personalize a person's character traits. But without these possible personalized character traits, everyone would become insane and senseless. To develop good behavior, you need a reason, and to develop bad behavior, you need a selfish reason. So, own what you do and say, and consciously use willpower while pushing through fear and rejection. Building moral intelligence in youth. Moral intelligence is the capacity to understand right from wrong, of which a person would have strong ethical convictions, and to act and behave in the honorable and right way. Often, parents may need to reinterpret the meaning of moral intelligence to self first before development can manifest in youth. Building the virtue of moral intelligence can help the youth model good character. 9 virtues of moral intelligence. Conscience. You would want to have an inhibiting sense of what is prudent. An unacknowledged conscience can make you appear senseless about your conduct and motives. Structure the context for moral growth, interpret the virtues of conscience and guide behavior, and promote moral discipline with youth. Empathy. You would want to be sympathetic. Lack of empathy can make you only identify with one's attitude, feelings, or thoughts and not sympathetic towards others. Promote awareness and a perfected vocabulary, expand sensitivity to feelings of others, and execute empathy for another person's point of view to youth. Fairness. You would want to be clear about the validity of fairness. An unfair nature can make you appear biased, complex, and dogmatic toward others. Treat your kids fairly, interpret the significance of behaving fairly, and promote standing up against unfairness and injustice with youth. Forgiveness. You would want to be forgiving to overcome major obstacles and reach higher goals. An unforgivable nature can lower patience and tolerance levels. Interpret and promote forgiveness for others and self to youth. Kindness. You would want to be kind for others to be kind to you. An unkind nature can make you appear unfriendly and unlikable. Interpret and promote the meaning and value of kindness, point out its positive effects, and have zero tolerance for nastiness and meanness with youth. Let go. You would want to let go of past hurt. Past hurt can hinder moving forward. Interpret and promote overcoming past hurt by admitting when you were wrong to youth. Talk about past hurt. You would want to talk to a counselor or psychiatrist. The past doesn't define a person, but it is something to learn from. Talk to youth about their past hurt and find out how and when the issues affect them the most. Be open and honest by telling them whether you have had the same experiences. Talk to youth before consulting a specialist, so they don't feel like you are taking over their life. Then, give them time to process the information before, during, and after each evaluation. If the parent has faced the same experiences, they too may need to consult a specialist to overcome and develop and grow together. Respect. You would want to be respectful to elders, parents, and police. A disrespectful nature can make you appear discourteous and senseless. Interpret the meaning of respect by encouraging empathy for the elderly, parents, and police. Interpret courtesy and honorable manners to youth. Self-control. You would want self-control to eliminate uncontrollable situations such as obstruction of justice. Lack of control can make you appear unable to be restrained if you are on the wrong side of the law. Interpret and prioritize self-control and self-motivation, and indicate harm and self-harm when dealing with temptations and the significance of thinking before acting and speaking to youth. Tolerance. You would want to be tolerant. One day, they may have to raise their kids. Furthermore, you would want to change the cycles of abuse with your kids. A lack of tolerance can make you appear cruel, dogmatic, and hostile. Interpret and promote tolerance from an early age, appreciation for diversity, and promote low tolerance for prejudice to youth. All those aspects of life's formation in this book will help anyone develop and grow, but if I had to choose 6 general areas for youth, it would be citizens' rights and responsibilities, ethical values, self-help, finding a purpose, moral character, and leader qualities. Nowadays, the youth tend to deviate from experiencing courage, especially despite criticism. Cowardly people rise and fall every day through senseless acts, but enough is enough. The youth deserve more from the next generation. 6 major life goals for youth today. 1. Citizens' rights and responsibilities. knowing your rights and responsibilities will enable equality, freedom, and liberty in the pursuit of happiness. It is a duty to work towards becoming a law-abiding citizen who stands for heroic things such as humanitarianism. 2. Ethical values helps build a strengthening foundation that won't be compromised for senseless acts. 3. Self-help helps a person acknowledge that improvements are needed and purpose in life is possible. Self-help enables a person to push through adversity and experience a better quality of life. 4. Finding a purpose helps to become aware of the meaning of life by using unique qualities to help and improve others and oneself. 5. Moral character. It helps to be able to perceive right from wrong while upholding a structured quality of living. 6. Leader qualities helps to develop authentic, effective, and perfected communication. Leader qualities. A leader is a person who has developed the ability to lead others. They control, direct, govern, guide, or manage a group or stewardship. Most well-educated leaders are business owners or have a position in business administration. Leaders embody authority and influence others to want to build, change, or do business. There are keys to developing leadership qualities, an essential formula of success that cannot be ignored. The key aspects of effective leadership deal with actions, behavior, flexibility, growth, impact, influence, mistakes, people, strength, and vision. Leaders' actions can impact their growth and vision. We all make mistakes, but strength comes from admitting, owning, and then correcting others. As a leader, you can't afford to waste an opportunity to influence others' behavior by guiding them responsibly. Your greatest potential of becoming a leader is revealed through your actions, attitude, and behavior. Lead by contributing your unique talents to the welfare of society and make a positive impact. This is how many people discover prominent leaders' presentations, products, services, and speeches, and basically, this is how they get noticed. The best way to influence is by setting an example. There is always a need for development, and excellent orientation makes a great team. During hard times, practice what you preach and remember your team members are following you every moment. A leader is someone who faces obstacles with confidence and determination, moving forward toward success, which influences team members to stand by their side. Not only do leaders communicate, speaking to the public, but they also set goals and keep them. Discover and coordinate your unique vision, and inspire each member of your team with that vision. Your activities can be more meaningful with your vision, so devote effort and time to implementing various tasks toward the realization of your vision. The vision will inspire those people to take action and move forward. Sure, actions do speak louder than words, so avoid wasting time talking about insignificant aspects of the vision. It won't be as effective. Simply let everyone see your plan through your actions. Each decision, no matter the situation, must be based on your value system. In certain situations, you may have to choose a different style of communication or leadership. Actions that are value-driven actions help to build respect and trust with the people around you. If flexibility doesn't affect your values, it is a truly effective trait. You cannot be a leader with profound goals and skills in an empty room. As a leader, you will engage with people, and communication skills are the foundation of effective leadership. For amazing results, constantly improve your relationships with people. Life is useless without ongoing improvements. Satisfaction ought to be a short-term feeling since there is always room for growth. And remember to be thankful for every achievement while doing a little more for the world. Workplace leadership. A leader always seeks to improve themselves, but they have conviction and are tenacious. They listen attentively, speak candidly, and treat others with respect. A leader focuses on the key inputs for business and delivering the right quality, in a timely fashion. They use their instinct with good business judgment and high standards to create a bold direction that inspires results. A leader is curious about acting on and exploring new possibilities. They operate at all levels, staying connected to audits and details frequently, and are skeptical when anecdote and metrics differ. A leader recognizes exceptional talent and moves them throughout the organization to raise the performance bar with every hire and promotion. They expect innovation and invention from their team. They benchmark themselves and their team against the best. A leader constantly drives their team to deliver high-quality presentations, products, and services. They know that thinking small is a self-fulfilling prophecy, so they find ways to simplify. They think differently by looking around corners for ways to serve customers. A leader is vocally self-critical but is obligated to challenge decisions when they disagree, even when doing so is exhausting or uncomfortable. They ensure that problems are fixed so they stay fixed, and they work to confirm their beliefs with a diverse plan. Despite setbacks, they rise to the occasion and do not compromise for the sake of social cohesion. Once a decision is determined, they commit wholly, and no task is beneath them. Communicating as a leader. Effective communication is an essential component of professional success on various levels, whether it is external, intergroup, interpersonal, intragroup, or organizational. It is impossible to become a leader without being a great communicator. The subtle elements of communication are rarely taught in a classroom that focuses on others rather than the self. One thing great communicators have in common is that they possess a contextual awareness and heightened sense of situations. Great communicators are skilled at reading a group/person by sensing the attitudes, concerns, dynamics, moods, and values of those being communicated to. Appropriately drawing upon said skills while the chips are down. Life isn't always easy. The best communicators are astute in their observations while listening. When communicating directly or indirectly through third parties, make sure the message is correct, well-reasoned, and substantiated by solid business logic that is accurate, clear, and consistent. Remember, the communication won't be about you, your circumstances, your opinions, or your positions. It will be about helping others, adding value to their world by meeting their needs and understanding their concerns. These communication traits are what make a person an authentic and significant leader. Most leaders spend half of their time in interpersonal situations, and a large number of organizational problems occur because of poor communication. How to know when your skills are mature enough to become a significant leader. Consistent interactions with others ought to meet the 11 principles. 12 principles of leader communication. Avoid exaggeration. When you aren't paying attention to what is said, you tend to get annoyed and exaggerate things. If you give the party your undivided attention and read what they are saying, you won't have to exaggerate anything. You don't need to view leading as a license to increase the volume of rhetoric. Body language. A person's chosen words can conflict with their body language. It is the nonverbal cues and unseen language that throw off many interactions. Interpreting body language can give you a real sense of a person's true feelings. When you can read sentiments and thoughts that aren't revealed by the person's words, it gives you a clear advantage. Especially in events such as conducting meetings, delivering presentations and speeches, during negotiations, or selling products. That can help you master the art and science of personal body language of confidence and honesty to those around you. Reading body language traits in others is just as important as others being able to read significant body language traits in you. 3. Contingency plan. You cannot assume someone knows where you are coming from if you don't tell them. However, don't assume someone wants to have a particular conversation with you just because the conversation is on your mind. For successful interactions to occur, your objective must be in alignment with those you are communicating with. To prevent the message from going bad, prepare to change a message when needed. Though this rarely happens, clarity, empathy, expertise, etc., might not even deliver the desired effect, so just be willing to change the message on the fly. Justifying a message with business logic, empathy, and knowledge will prevent your message from falling on deaf ears and needing clarification or reinforcement afterward. The change can be something as small as a few words or the entire message. This is why you must be able to read folks. Use analogies, bold statements, humor, questions, and relevant data. Research the significant data to stay current. Awe and shock are possible but at last resort. 4. Keep open dialogue. Some parties may have dissenting opinions or opposing positions and may even challenge your patience by confronting you. But a closed mind is the single most limiting factor to new opportunities. Take the game to a whole new level by keeping an open mind and truly understanding what's on their mind. 5. Listen adequately. Assume that the greatest form of discourse takes place within a conversation, and not a lecture or monologue. Know when to be quiet or completely shut up altogether and simply listen. 6. Non-transparent ego. Most people believe a transparent ego is a way to go. When a transparent ego is like something hiding behind a tree and just waiting to be unleashed. Any hidden ego can form arrogance and pride, which can depreciate self-value if you are a salesperson. Therefore, avoid the transparent ego. 7. Personal dialogue. Work on organizational conversation. Engaging and personal conversations are the most effective. Developing meaningful relationships with people will help you know what's really on their mind before it is too late. 8. Spread your vision. Inspire action by aligning expectations and transferring ideas while communicating. Approach each interaction with counterintuitive thinking and a servant's heart. Focus on the other party's desires, needs, and wants. Don't form a personal agenda. Expect to contribute more than you receive to accomplish the goal. 9. Substance over fakery. Develop a technical command over your subject matter to know what you're talking about. Add value to a situation or topic. Don't just force yourself into a conversation to hear yourself speak. As a leader, you won't have time to be fake. Faking it until you make it isn't something to be influenced by. Real leaders work diligently to have their presentation, product, service, and speech all intact. 10. Tailored message. Since leaders don't have time to speak to individuals in an intimate setting, speak to groups as individuals. Tailor the message as if you are speaking to 10 people in a conference room or 10,000 people in an auditorium. So, it feels as if you were speaking directly to everyone. Work to establish credibility, rapport, and trust, which are keys to successful interactions. 11. Target significant points. Weed out the superfluous to make your words count and communicate with clarity. Reach granular levels of concern and complicated conversation that most people know is significant but wouldn't think to disclose. 12. Trustworthiness. Speaking as though you have a forked tongue won't open the hearts of people you communicate to. You would want people to sense that it is possible to invest time and take a risk with you. To build a good character with others, keep a good reputation that lacks integrity. Actively earn the group's or person's trust. Trust must be present, you can't demand it. Forms of communication. Communication is the interchange of opinions, thoughts, or information by signs, speech, and writings, either of which can be translated with video through telecommunication networks. So, it is wise to enhance your speech, video, and writing skills. Speech, deviating from accepted speech standards can reveal poor speech habits. You ought to be able to comprehend the message you convey. The worst-case scenario is that you have a lot of repeated sentences in your message. In which case, simply download a text-to-voice application to hear and practice your speech, and re-edit bad grammar. Video. How you present yourself in the video is significantly important, which involves appearance, body language, and speech. The production and quality of the video may also enhance the performance that you project to others. Writing. It is important to be able to write well on a day-to-day basis. You can't hire someone every time you need to write a company document or email. Nowadays, it isn't necessary to pull out an English grammar textbook to be concise and direct when writing a message. Authors generally remove unneeded words throughout their messages because it is possible to say a lot with fewer words. Sentence examples. Sentence A. There will be a meeting in the conference room today around noon, just after lunch. Modified sentence A. Today, there will be a meeting after lunch in the conference room. Sentence B. Our team will be getting together tonight at Jen's house to plan tomorrow's strategies for luring new customers. Modified sentence B. There will be a mandatory meeting at Jen's house tonight to plan for new customers. Sentence C. Our company's CEO will be giving the Employee of the Month award out in the meeting in the conference room today. Modified sentence C. The Employee of the Month award will be given out today in the conference room meeting. Overall view of senseless, illiterate, and insane. Nowadays, many arguments and confrontations stem from ethical norm standards. Ethical norms help make life a little easier when you are raised with them. Diverting from ethical norms can diminish a family structure to the point of each family member giving up on life altogether. Thereafter, the person is living through an out-of-body experience. People who are against ethical norms tend to hold their family and friends accountable to ethical norms. And sure, no one wants to be judged and looked down on when their family didn't raise them with ethical norms. With the next generation, it is possible to teach ethical norms so the youth don't end up going down the wrong path, looking for a strong foundation.